This one is a passion project for its lead actress, Kate Winslet, who also produces here, and she could find herself with some more nominations for this film as well. Let's talk about Lee. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new movie Lee, starring Kate Winslet. This took about 8 years to get onto the big screen, but Winslet was very, very determined. This was a passion project of hers. In fact, apparently when funds were tight, she even paid the crew out of her own pockets for a few weeks just to keep the momentum going on this. But her dream was realized. It is now a feature film, but did all that hard work pay off? We'll talk about that in just a moment. First, though, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are not one of my subscribers yet, please consider clicking that subscribe button and the notification bell down below. But either way, please like this video and comment below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out tremendously. All right, Kate Winslet, look, I'm a fan. That's no secret. Titanic, one of my favorite movies of all time, but she's got a lot of really, really great movies on her resume, and I believe she's been nominated 6 or 7 times at the Oscars, whether it's, I don't know if it's all been for lead actress, some maybe for supporting, but she won one time for The Reader in 2008. Great performance, and I think, if I'm remembering that movie correctly, I only saw it once, but I think it took place during World War II, right? And that is where we land here on Lee. So this movie was directed by Ellen Kuras, and this is her first feature film as a director, but she is best known as a cinematographer, and she has gotten a lot of accolades in that sort of realm, and she worked with Kate as cinematographer on Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. So, those two kind of have a history together. She read the biography of the subject here, Lee Miller, and sent Kate a copy and said, hey, you kind of look like this gal, would you ever consider doing a movie about her? And so the two kind of remained in touch about that, and here we have the movie so many years later. So this movie not only features Kate Winslet as Lee Miller, who is a World War II photographer and a photojournalist, as it were, working for Vogue magazine. But you've also got Marion Cotillard, Andrea Riseborough, Andy Samberg in a surprisingly dramatic role. I don't think we've seen that quite before. Noemi Merlan, Josh O'Connor, and Alexander Skarsgård, all in supporting roles. So the beginning of the movie takes place with her being a model and that part of her career. She meets the Alexander Skarsgård character, and the two really hit it off and start this, love affair and get married and all of this. But the last like 2/3 really focuses on her not only being a photojournalist for World War II for Vogue magazine, but how that even happened and her actually being in the trenches. And it's all sort of wrapped around with these interview snippets of Josh O'Connor. And it's interesting because earlier this year we had this movie called Challengers, the tennis movie with Zendaya, and Josh O'Connor was in it, and also Mike Faist. We already had this year now 2 movies in which both of the men from Challengers are interviewing subjects in a period piece. We had The Bike Riders, where Mike Faist was following around the bike club, interviewing them for a photo book that he was working on. And then here in this movie, Lee, we have the other actor from Challengers, Josh O'Connor, talking to Lee Miller about her photojournalism career. So kind of interesting in that regard, but more as a footnote than as a critique of the film. I just thought it was kind of interesting and cool because I love that movie Challengers. But anyway, so look, Kate Winslet, I mentioned early in the intro that she could see some nominations for this movie, and I do think that her performance is probably the strongest part of this film. It's another, whirlwind performance from her, a lot of emotion here, and we see, like I said, her beginnings in her earlier years, just being a model and that kind of thing, and, being a little more fancy-free, but as she dives more into her love of photography and wanting to do something and be a part of, what people might remember about this war, chronicling We really get to see the passion that Winslet had, I think, for Lee Miller as a person, and certainly for making this movie, because she really she's just pouring everything she has into this role. She's excellent yet again. So maybe we'll see some nominations for her. I don't know, but some of the other aspects of the film I was less enthusiastic about. So let's talk about that. There's some more positives I could talk about. I mean, Andy Samberg's performance was, very, very interesting, because I've never seen him in a really dramatic performance. He's known as the goofy guy from SNL and The Lonely Island and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it was definitely, a little startling. This is one of the few movies I saw a preview for. I don't watch a lot of previews, but they showed this before The Substance, and which is another fascinating movie from this year. But I thought, wow, is that Andy Samberg doing like this really dramatic turn? And it works. I don't know that he nails the accent all the time, but it works. However, his character and some of the others, I think, fall prey to one of the negatives I have with this movie is its lack of focus on the supporting characters. Marion Cotillard is a fantastic actress. She has won an Oscar as well for La Vie en Rose, but she's kind of wasted here. She's only in a few scenes, and I think we maybe could have used more with her character. And Andy Samberg actually does end up getting a lot of play, because his character goes on the war route with Lee Miller, and so we do actually see him quite a bit in this movie, but we also don't know that much about his character. Not that it's about him or the other people. I get it, it's about Lee, but I think there were some maybe wasted chances there, and I think it does take a little bit of time to kind of crank up those first 20-25 minutes where we're sort of in the model phase of of Lee's life and all of that. I mean, sure, it was interesting, but that could have been, probably like a 5-minute segment, and then we move on to the heavier hitting stuff, because the last, hour or so of this movie, maybe more, maybe hour and 15 minutes, is really, really heavy hitting, well done. Now, it's not necessarily things we haven't seen before in a World War II movie, but one thing I really appreciated about it is it doesn't just cover Miller's time as a World War II photojournalist during the war. We go into the aftermath as well, and what she's seeing in some of those spots. And look, when they showed some of the photography that she did and some of the pictures, I've seen some of those shots. I'm not positive I knew the name Lee Miller before this movie, but I feel like maybe in one of my journalism classes in college, that would certainly make sense, where they would have, gone over her life's work. Sure, that makes sense. But I just think there were a few wasted opportunities here, in that regard. But boy, what a powerhouse performance from her. I don't know. I mean, we've seen so many movies about different aspects of World War II. I don't know that this movie shed a light on anything more in that regard. But what a great, great knockout performance from Kate Winslet. I'm going to leave Lee with a B-. So look for her perhaps during award season to get some nominations for this. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It. I'll see you next time.